of the Verizon Media Group, copyright 2025. All rights are reserved.
The march to freedom is long, and it must continue to evolve.
Led by God and grounded in Scripture.
March to freedom must be righteous, with a focus on accountability and sustainability to ensure that we leave no man behind.
Have the courage to do the right thing and get yourself a red Bible.
As we unleash the minds, you can be confident that the revolution is alive, and we will continue to document it.
This is Freedom March.
This is Freedom March. Hello, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us here on Freedom March. I'm Levin Miller, and you're listening to us on 103.5 The Beat FM, channel 224 on cable, channel 1121 Flow, and of course on ILTV Studios on Facebook. Wherever you are in the Commonwealth today, I'm sure that by now you've heard that the discovery of the body of a female happened in the area of Mannings Drive today, and from all indications, it is in fact the body, or from all indications, it is suggested that it is the body of Lauren. Now, why that is so sobering to me is because as I followed this story, the suggestion I hear is that we are talking not just about a mother, but we are talking about a woman who was in a state of maternity. And forgive me, I am few things in life that I am sure about many times, but the one thing I am is a ghetto youth. And in the hood that I grew up in, it is a generally agreed position that no matter what our discourse, no matter what our disturbance, no matter what our disagreements, women and children are off limits. It is a non-negotiable. It is something that we do not waver from. It is something that we do not ever retract. That when it comes to whatever our disagreements are, whenever we get to the point where at times in the hood I grew up in, violence becomes necessary, we agree that even in our exchange of violence, women and children are off limits. Then pray tell me, my friends, how are we in a position today where we are reporting the taking of the life, not just of a woman with children, but of a woman with a child growing on the inside of her? That concerns me. Freedom March will be right back after the break.
Fill up box for all $30.
The new KFC Fill-Up Box, serving 6 juicy pieces of chicken, 4 buttery biscuits, crispy fries to share, and 12 premium original recipe KFC nuggets, all packed into one crave-worthy box. So dig in and do whatever the crunch you want with the KFC Fill-Up Box. Only at KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Experience the difference with BTC's fixed services. Whether you're working from home or enjoying family time, BTC ensures you're always in touch with the people and moments that count. BTC isn't just a service, it's a lifestyle. Stay connected, stay inspired, and live your best life. BTC.
This is Freedom March. Hello, welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us through the break. I'm Levan Miller. You're listening to us on 103.5 The Beat FM, channel 224, channel 112, that's cable and flow, and of course on ILTV Studios. As often, the spiritual advisor extraordinary and plenipotentiary, the spiritual advisor for the whole Bahamas, I'm told, Bradley Roll, is with me in studio. Bradley, once again, welcome to Freedom March.
Thanks so much. Good to be here, Levan.
It is a sad day, Bradley.
No doubt.
In the hood I grew up in, Bradley, it was law that women and children are off limits.
Yeah.
I don't care what axe we grinding. You don't case nobody Grammy because that off limits.
No, the mother.
You don't case nobody Ma because that off limits. And if this violence will disrupt, interrupt, affect, or harm in any way the women and the children of this community, you stand down on it. And it is a collectively agreed position that all of us as neighbors, every single Anglistonian, I'm an Angliston boy, you know,
Yeah.
Main Street and Cordova Avenue, just to be precise. See, because I'm not one of those people from those stush little neighborhoods with the white fence and the homeowners association. I don't know anything about that. I am from the ventricle of the inner city
Main Street.
and Cordova Avenue, to be precise.
The heart of the ghetto.
It doesn't. I'm in the middle. It doesn't get more ghetto than that.
Wow.
And so, even there, though, Bradley, there is a common thread of decency. Even there is a general acceptance that the women of this neighborhood belong to us all.
Right.
And nobody from Camp Road, I don't care how bad they think their head is, nobody from Fox Hill, nobody from Beantown, well, there was nowhere else to call because those were the bad areas, it could, should, or would ever come into Angliston and affront or cause harm to any female in this community. And it is because the rule, Bradley, is that the woman and the children are off limits. And so today, Bradley, I'm troubled.
Yeah, they are to be protected at all costs.
Yeah. How dare we
Wow.
get to a place in this society? And you know, we're going to get to the Holy Scripture right now, but I'll tell you what troubles my spirit, Bradley. As I go through social media, I get it, it's news. And news is new. And the only time it is new is when it is news. After that, it is just gossip. So I get it. People are chomping at the bit because they want the facts of the case. But there are investigators that will do that. People want the information because we live in a hyper-stimulant society and time where access to information is everywhere, and so people want as much of it as they can consume. We have become information gluttons. And many times, for the desire to consume information that will not make our lives better in any way, Bradley. So yeah, whether there's a sweetheart involved, or a husband involved, or a wife involved, or a baby involved, or a love triangle, or whatever. What we know at the core of the situation, Bradley, is that a woman in the late stages of pregnancy was involved. And so was her life. And that life has come to an end. And it has come to an end carelessly, not by time, but by the hands of a man with mismanaged emotions. And obviously a man that doesn't hold on to the principles, Bradley, that fastened even the most hardened criminals I have met in my life. And that principle is, Bradley, that no matter the discourse, no matter the disagreement. Woman and children off limits. And so certainly a woman with child must be, Bradley, the deuce of spades of off limits. It just has to be. It has to be the social deuce of spades of a person that is off limits. And like the old people would say, irregardless of what their transgressions were. And so to the people in the society that I see are so much more concerned with the facts of the case, man, you're not Sherlock Holmes. And you're certainly not Jesus. And the question I have to ask you is which yard you going in to grind corn? Because you all like go grind corn in other people's yard. And when you all ain't grinding corn in other people's yard, you all like to grind your corn with other people's mill. And if someone don't stop you all, even when you all in your yard, which you all mill, you all like to go grind other people's corn. So, but for the grace of God, Bradley, go out there also. But you don't need religion for this. All you need is social decency. You don't need Christianity or Hinduism or Rastafarianism, or you don't need any ethos of spirituality to guide you. Or it is a simple social understanding that, Bradley, when it comes to violence, Pookie, woman and children is a no-go, my friend.
Indeed.
If Bradley Roll is here, then that means we have Holy Scripture. Bradley, what does the Holy Scripture have for us?
Well, notwithstanding, what is going on, there is a behavior. If you say you love somebody, there's a way that you actually behave and you act towards them. That is, if you do love them the agape way. So today we're going to look at 1 Corinthians chapter 13, 4 verses actually from there. And it tells you basically how love, it describes to you how love behaves if you do have this agape love. But also you got that passage for me, 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8. And here's what the Apostle Paul told the church of Corinth. He says, love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It's not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrong. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects. It always protects. Always trusts. Always hopes. And always preserves. So if you want to find out how you have to behave, if you have the agape love, then I think this is the perfect way to see it. Based on 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8, I read from the NIV, but I like how it says it, verse number 7. Well, love never fails. Of course, the Apostle Paul goes into the spiritual side of things with the church, but where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be still. Where there's knowledge, it will pass away. Thank you so much, producer. We do appreciate you. All right.
Oh, thank you very much, Bradley. And Bradley, here is the tragedy of it. The tragedy of it is, in the end, what is it worth?
I'm trying to figure out what's going on through the mind of the killer.
In the end, what is it worth?
Wow.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, Bradley, and it's so interesting that you would go down this pathway about love, because I struggle often to understand why would human beings continuously march towards this unreachable thing. It is the view of Levin Miller that love exists outside of human capacity, and that humans simply do not have the ability to do it. They cannot execute it. It is a simple matter of the makeup of a man. You speak English because you were born in an English-speaking country. As simple as the texture of the hair on your body is in some way tied to the condition of the place of your birth and domicile. The way your accent sounds is tied to a condition. The people who you associate with throughout your life is also tied to a condition. There is nothing about your life as a human being that isn't tied to a condition. Your gender is tied to a condition. A biological one, but a condition nonetheless. So your father secreted X and Y chromosomes. The X and Y chromosome left his body and entered your mother's. The condition was that the Y chromosome somehow, or the sperm carrying the Y chromosome, somehow made it to the egg with the X chromosome, and as a consequence, you are Bradley and not Bradisha.
That's a male.
The entire human makeup is tied to conditions. From the day you born until the day you die. And if love is this thing, you want to read the scripture again for them?
1 Corinthians chapter 13.
Read the scripture again for them.
Yeah, pull it up again for me, please, producer. 1 Corinthians chapter 13. We'll stop at verse 7. We don't have to go into verse 8, just for the sake of the conversation. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always preserves. Now let's look up the Greek word for love in this text here and see what it is. See what ChatGPT says. What is the Greek word for love in 1 Corinthians 13:4? No doubt, I am assuming that the Greek word has to be agape.
Let's check.
Let's see. What is the Greek word there? Because in the Greek, it'll give you a better understanding of why the Apostle Paul is actually describing love in this fashion. But if this is how love behaves,
it is something outside of the scope of a human being.
this is serious.
Yeah. And so the Greek word there is, no. This says, in Corinthians, especially Corinthians 13.
1 Corinthians 13, verse 4. What is the Greek word
Which
for love?
famously is known as the love chapter. The Greek word used for love is agape.
Right. So this is the unconditional.
And my point to you is that is why I do not understand why human beings continue to play with something that was made for God.
But we can love, though.
It's impossible for you to love.
We can love, no.
It is
we can love.
impossible for you to
If it's
love.
impossible, then Jesus would not command us to it, you see?
But he specifically commands
He
you to
says,
do it. What did he say?
Want you to love. Well, he told his disciples this very interesting concept. He says, listen, by this will all men know that you are my disciples when they see the love you have
One to
for
another.
Yeah.
Correct. And that is a condition.
So we can do it.
And that is a condition. Because if you show love one to another, that sounds like an exchange of the thing, eh?
Well, okay.
So that means the minute you stop giving me yours, I should stop giving you mine.
No.
That's not love.
Right.
Because love is what this thing here is.
This is the unconditional.
And this is my point. And humans are creatures of condition.
So you're saying that it's impossible for human beings to
It is
love,
outside of human capacity.
but it can be. It is a behavior that can
You
be
are
learned.
absolutely. It is a behavior.
It can be
It
learned.
is a behavior that they can continue to destroy themselves trying to attain. So, what do I mean? You have a Hyundai accent, yeah? But you are building your house. You pray to God for a truck, God ain't give you no truck. What do you have?
Accent.
A Hyundai accent. You say, well, if God say, use what I have in my hand. You know how y'all like to get spiritual and quote a random scripture? Right? You start toting the 2x6 on the roof of your Hyundai accent. You think you could get the 2x6 from one of the lumber yard to your house? On top of the Hyundai accent?
That's a possibility.
Absolutely, you could take
I've
it
seen
there.
it happen.
You could take it there more than once. Matter of fact, you could probably build a whole roof, toting the lumber on top of your Hyundai accent.
Yeah.
By the time as you finish the roof, though, Bradley, what do you imagine is the state of the Hyundai accent?
Boy, it's probably worn out.
You've destroyed it.
The roof is all bent up.
Not because the car can't tote the wood. But why?
It's the use of the car. I think it's
It
been
is
abused.
because toting the wood is outside of
you
the
don't-
car's
you don't-
capacity.
Yeah, you don't use the car for that.
Love is outside of human capacity. And humans continue to frustrate themselves with this thing.
So humans can't love.
It is outside of
Well,
How
I don't know. That's
how would a fully conditional creature
I don't know if you can
explain this to
actually
me?
say that.
Okay, why can the fish not breathe air?
That's not the way he was designed. He's supposed to be in the water. We're designed
But
to
all
love.
living things.
But don't forget now, we are created in God's image and likeness, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a.
So
Human
we
beings can love one another.
So we can mirror God's behavior, but we do not have the capacity to create the thing. You follow me?
We did not create love.
No.
God created love for us.
Notice many times when God uses times when you should love. Husbands, love your wife like Christ loved the church. It's called a simile in English, right?
So let me ask you a question. You think God would ask man to do something that is impossible for him to do?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. And Jesus or God reassures that every time because that was the purpose of Jesus. You can't keep yourself safe. That's why you
I mean,
need
that's
Jesus.
different, but you're saying that we can't love.
Love exists outside of human capabilities and capacities because love is an unconditional thing and humans are creatures of condition. Don't move, Freedom March will be right back.
This is Freedom March.
This is Freedom March. Hello, welcome back to Freedom March. Thank you for staying with us through the break. Bradley Roll is here with me on Freedom March. Bradley, it is interesting that this thing happened the way that it happened, right? What we can confirm is that someone is in custody for it. What we can confirm is that Lauren was alive up to Sunday at 5 p.m. And I think, Bradley, these are the kind of moments in the country's history where we ought to be calling now, because I think we can socially agree that among Bahamian consciousness, this is the worst of the worst, right?
It has to be.
As it is measured by the standard of Bahamians. I think this was the similar kind of soberness that I saw in the country when we lost young Marco Archer, which I think was about 11 years ago, eh? And that led to the Marcos Alert, the Marcos Law, etc., etc. And I think we have one of the brightest legal minds in the certainly in the region, in the person of the Minister of National Security. He has, as a resource, another QC, a white one actually, that must mean he's really smart, in the person of the Attorney General, right? And I think that those two men have to figure out a way, after the goings on or the happenings of this incident here, to carve out in the legislation now how the worst of the worst is determined. And I think this case here is a wonderful benchmark case for it. Have we had women killed in the past? Yes. There was the woman by the Gulf Coast, the one whose head was bashed in with the rock. That was horrible. There was the woman, Dolly, that I grew up with, that was killed and found on the beach. That was horrible. There was the boy that killed his girlfriend on Adelaide Beach and then stabbed up himself. You remember him? Only to find out the only assailant on the beach was him. That was also horrible, right? But in my mind's eye, Bradley, there was also the girl that was shot up in the car.
Yeah, shot in the stomach and then...
No, the girl that was shot up in the back of the South Beach police station. Was it a white vehicle at some point? When the fellas pull up on the car with the machine gun and shoot up the car, and the little girl was, I think she was 19. Okay, that was horrible. There was the woman by Dragon Dog that was chopped up to pieces in the house. That was also horrible.
Yeah.
There was the Nellie, what is the name?
Nellie
Brown, who lives 2 corners from me, chopped to smithereens in her house. That was horrible. Bradley, though, to kill a woman in an advanced state of pregnancy, though,
that's crazy, man.
It goes outside of what is socially normal in the Bahamas. And it should cost the back teeth of all Bahamians, right thinking or otherwise. All Bahamians should, the back teeth of every Bahamian that heard that story today should grind a little bit in shock to think that someone could be riled up this high
to commit such an act.
Not just to commit murder, but to commit murder on a woman in this state. And then to just throw her body on the side of the road. Imagine the life leaving this woman's body. Forget about the woman for 6 seconds. Imagine the growing fetus inside of her beginning to die because its life source has
been cut off.
We have very smart lawyers. The one thing I trust is a PLP lawyer. I tell my mommy all the time, listen to me, I discuss people out all the time. At some point in my life, going to jail might become a real thing. at any point it looked like we going to jail for true, go get me a PLP lawyer. I've always said it to my mother. For God's sake, for whose sake?
For God's sake.
Please don't bring me none of them lawyer I see this represent the other side, because they can't win no court case. At whatever point I look like I go into jail for true, you call me a PLP lawyer. Preferably Damien Gomez. Right?
QC.
So they cannot tell me, Bradley, that they don't have the wherewithal. They cannot tell me this administration doesn't have the acumen. They cannot tell me that they don't have the intellect right within the confines of their own party, right within the confines of their own cabinet, right within the confines of the halls of parliament presently, to be able to sit with their advisors and to craft out the Lauren bill. Because, Bradley, to the consciousness, to the minds, in the view of, in the heart of, in the spirit of, and in the belly of every Bahamian, this simply must be.
The worst of the worst.
It has to be.
So now they're going to have to find a way to explain to the Privy Council.
Because, Bradley, at the very bedrock of our social understanding, I'm not talking about where the intelligentsia exists. I'm not talking about where the intellectuals reside. I'm talking about the people who only know 1 + 1 = 2 ones.
Yeah.
Those people accept that women and children
Off limits.
are off limits. And so because that principle exists at that level in our social understanding, certainly it must exist at a higher level the more educated we become. That I don't care what this woman do to you. No amount of impropriety could lead you to this. And I think that social pushback on this regard, in this matter, should be for there to be action. There has to be, I don't know Lauren, but she seems to be a woman in the normal course of her life. 32 years old, I think it is.
Yeah.
2 children, a son and a daughter.
Yeah.
9 and 7. Right on her way, in a good window. Having her 3rd child by the time she's 33 for sure.
35, 33, yeah.
And to have that life choked from the face of the earth, Bradley, for whatever the frivolous. My granddaddy died at the age of 84. Jacob James Nathaniel Scott is his name. He had 29 children with 6 women. You know what Mr. Scott told me 2 weeks before he died? He said, at 84 years old, son, the thing I've learned the most is that if you live long enough, you will live longer than most of your mistakes.
That's interesting.
Because at 84, the only thing that matters is that you are someone's decent granddaddy. So the 6 women, they don't matter no more. The fact that these 29 children was not in one house no longer matters. The fact that you might have missed one school play or didn't show up to one wedding or didn't show up to one graduation, at 84, Bradley, it no longer matters. And if you live long enough, you will outlive all of your mistakes, Bradley. I want to talk to the consciousness. I want to talk into the minds of right-thinking Bahamians. Because what I see going on in social media, Bradley, is irregular. They treating this like days of our lives. Have you watched this in social media? People concerned about where did the husband lock up? They got the boyfriend lock up? Well, where the mummy? Well, who got the children? Well, and nobody seems to want to pause, Bradley, long enough. Firstly, to acknowledge that this was a woman, man.
A life, yeah, absolutely.
Secondly,
human.
not just a life. When Pookie them doing what they just do, Bradley, I have to admit, I don't always calculate Pookie them in the grander scheme of things. I don't always calculate them. Because I told you before, Charles Sanders told me, the bridle for the horse, the whip for the ass, the rod for the back of the fool. And the Bible also tells me that he who lives by the sword will surely die by the sword. So I don't always calculate Pookie them. But this is a woman, Bradley. And not just a woman with child.
Yeah.
That should make a pit form in your stomach every single time you hear it. What could her transgression have been? Because separate and apart from her trying to vacate you of your life, I cannot think about an action warranted the taking of her life. But that is where I am on it, Bradley.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling.
And if we do it for love, if the answer is that we've done it for love, then I say to you, man, for God's sake, don't love me. I admonish everyone everywhere.
But that's not love. That person was very selfish, actually.
But if love powers your selfish behavior like that, don't love me.
Yeah, and I agree with that.
If love makes you assume you have ownership of me, man, please don't love me.
Well, obviously, that person who may have committed that act probably don't even have a clue as to what love is. So.
And the fact that the timeline given is Sunday 5 p.m. for the last time we can account for her being alive. Today is now Wednesday. It is about 5 p.m. That means that is what, 72 hours now?
72 hours, yeah.
Okay, I understand that there is a man or a person of interest in custody who was arrested on Monday. And if that is the case, that would mean that the window of the 48 hours for questioning, if they don't get a court extension, should be nearing its end. That means I anticipate that the person will be charged. Isn't that how it works?
Well, once they have sufficient evidence, eh?
Okay. Well, if they've kept him this long, they would either, at the 48-hour mark, require an extension to keep him for further questioning, or they would need to charge him. Charging him would mean that they found sufficient evidence.
Yeah.
And to my friends that wear the uniform, I say to you all, man, please get this one right. Please make sure you all read him his right to remain silent. They call it cautioning here in the Bahamas. In America, they call it Mirandering. Please make sure that you all treat him with decency and respect while he's in custody. Try to walk away from the laying on of hands.
Yeah.
You all don't look like apostolic preachers to me. And even if you are an apostolic preacher working in CDU, today ain't the day for laying on of hands.
Because you don't have the power anyhow. You can prove you don't.
But I want you to ensure that your line of questioning is thorough. I want you to make sure that you get an alibi from him. And then I want you to thoroughly test his alibi. And then I want you to take him back to the scene and test his familiarity with the scene. And do all of the things that are necessary if the person in custody is, in fact, the person of interest, to ensure that we get a conviction. And, Mr. Attorney General, I don't expect prejudice. I expect you to execute your duties without favor, fair or favor, prejudice, or ill will. But I hope that we are able to do this one thoroughly and that we are also able to do it expeditiously. I understand a couple of the people who was charged with murder and get killed. It ain't make no sense we keep wasting court time sifting through those matters. That came out wrong. The time you take it to adjourn them, we could adjourn them later on in the year. Because you're bringing the docket to the court only for the Attorney General office to tell you, Pookie get killed, we'd like to now petition the court to vacate the case. All them, push them to the end of the year. And let's see if we could get Lawrence matter before the face of a court.
Yeah.
And in the meantime,
no doubt.
Mr. QC, Minister of National Security, Mr. Casey, Attorney General, let's see if we could figure out socially what we can agree on as the penalty, the punishment, the law, the whatever triggers are necessary to have a piece of legislation drafted that gains the public support and the public buy-in like a Marcos Alert, Marcos Law did. That is what I think it will take, Bradley. Yeah?
Indeed.
I was going to talk about politics today. I'm not. You okay with that?
That's fine.
Let's just talk about Lauren. Producer, is it okay if we open the line? We can
Yeah.
open the line. So let's open the line. Because I want, Bradley, to make sure people are aware that we are, while I'm in the business of ensuring that we know what's going on in current affairs, and while that stuff is fun, and while there's a whole lot of things I could generate content about in that space, this one, in my view, Bradley, deserves some stopping. Every now and again, some things happen in your society that deserves some stopping. And I feel my Church of God fair enough because I think I hear someone in my spirit saying things like, if we lived in big countries, people kill pregnant women all the time. Because I feel like someone could say that, Bradley. There's nothing worse about this. Pregnant women get killed all the time. I feel like that's how lawyers will approach it.
Wow.
Right? And they will be right. And they would be right, Bradley. Right? Do you remember the case of, what is his name? Anthony Peters? Anthony Peters and Lacey Peters?
Oh, yes.
You remember
The
Anthony?
white couple, yeah.
Yeah? You remember how that story turned out? Anthony Peters tell the woman don't have the baby. The woman still go and have the baby. He take her and the baby and tie them up underneath the boat and then have the police go look for them?
Yes, I remember that.
Okay. So it happens all the time, Bradley. But what do we talk about on this show quite often? Social normality. So I care about Anthony. We don't do that here.
Yeah, we'd accept that. That's not, yeah.
Yeah. And in some parts of the world, I understand that if you get caught in adultery, the punishment may be even worse. I ain't care about them either. We don't do that here. And so, you know, I'm not even talking to the people that I know will get up and protest. I'm not talking about the Candy Gibsons. I'm not talking about the Denley Penns. I'm not talking about the people that I know get up every time something happened to a woman around here. And I get it. Sometimes women could be awful. They could be horrendously awful. Many times I calculate that this is possibly the worst generation of women the planet will ever see.
But we still gotta love them, though.
But you have to certainly, you don't have to love them, but you certainly have to agree not to harm them. Leave loving them to God. Let Him love them.
No, we still gotta love them. We still gotta show them love.
Whether you love them or
Regardless.
not, Bradley, you have to agree not to harm them.
Absolutely.
Because you could also leave them alone.
This is true.
And so that's what I want to say. Let's go to the phone lines. Hello, caller. Welcome to Freedom March.
Hi, good day. I just want to know, when someone is missing and they put out an issue and they say, how long does it take for the police to actually put out like a search in person, especially in her condition, as she was pregnant at 7 months?
The Minister of National Security issued a statement. Let me see if I can find it. Because he gave the exact timeline with regards to how swiftly the police officers acted. And what he said was that police officers actually did act very swiftly. That once here is it, this is the statement. Let me see, do you mind if I read this for you?
Sure.
Statement from the Ministry of National Security, Minister of National Security, Wayne Monroe Casey, on the tragic passing of Lauren Sanders. And let me also say, the fact that it warrants a statement from the minister means that it should affect legislation, right? And it says, I am deeply saddened by the tragic discovery of the body of Lauren Sanders this morning. My thoughts are with her family and loved ones as they face an unbearable loss. From the moment Lauren was reported missing on Sunday, the Royal Bahamas Police Force moved quickly. A missing persons flyer was issued the same day, and officers began reaching out to relatives, friends, and members of the public for information. By Monday, a person of interest had been arrested, taken into custody, and searches were carried out across several areas in western New Providence. On Tuesday, the operation expanded. 69 officers supported by drones, K9 units, drones and K9 units searched through bushes, ponds, and coastal areas, in some places wading waist deep in water as they followed every possible lead. Throughout this period, I received continuous updates from the Commissioner of Police as her team worked around the clock to bring answers to the family. This morning, their careful and determined work led investigators to Munnings Road, where the discovery was made. I want to thank the men and women of the Royal Bahamas Police Force for their compassion and dedication, and the many members of the public who stood alongside the family and officers during these difficult days. This morning, our hearts are with the Sanders family. We share their grief, we pray for their comfort, and we remain committed to seeing justice served for Lauren. So he gave a very specific timeline that, well, in order for them to have made an arrest on Monday, police had to be doing something on Sunday. And
but I thought it was last night they had someone in. That was Tuesday.
Right, but according to the Ministry of National Security's press release, there was an arrest made Monday.
Oh. Because the first flyer that I saw of them missing was from the family members and not from the Royal Bahamas Police Force. That's what had people questioning was something done.
And listen, I don't like to lie. I like to tell the truth. When I first saw the missing persons flyer, I'm not sure if it was the police's or the family's. But do you recall there was about 2.5 years ago, a woman that went missing for about 7 days or 9 days or something like that? And 7 days later, she turns back up and said she was stressed out and was at one of those hotels somewhere in the east.
Thank you.
You recall that?
No, I don't recall.
Okay, I'll see if we could find the story. So my immediate position was not to be concerned, and I'll tell you why. We're talking about a woman that is going through pregnancy, so there are hormonal imbalances, etc. Blah blah blah. In my view, I said maybe she's stressed out and she's decided she wants to come away from her family. When 24 hours passed, I started saying, well, that's kind of long, even if you are going through, pregnancy issues. But according to the minister, the police never thought what I thought, and that they always treated this like a missing persons report. You with me, Paula?
I understand that they say they took action right away.
Mm-hmm.
But based on what but I've seen, it didn't look like anything was taken serious, because normally missing persons, they don't go until after 48 hours, right?
I think a lot of that has changed with the inclusion of the Marcos law. Especially when it involves
legislation does choose to be put before Parliament for situations like this, because these are not common for our country, and it has to be taken very seriously.
We agree.
Indeed, yeah.
All right,
Thank you so much, Carla.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bradley, I agree. I agree that socially we have to accept that this, according to Bahamian standards, is our definition
of the worst
of the worst.
Yeah.
Here, Mr. Privy Council, white people, here is our Bahamian Negro classification in law and in writing, written by 2 KCs, of what Bahamian Negroes
describe
qualify to be
the worst of the worst.
And we want to name it Lawrence Law. Yeah? Call it either?
No.
All right. 323-777-75-698-0775. 5. And don't get me wrong, Bradley, women can also be wonderful.
Yeah, man. I mean, God created them first, you know.
As a matter of fact, that's the only thing he created them for, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man had everything else going on in the garden, and God said, well, I make nothing for man. And bam, woman come. So the only thing woman was made for was man. So they should be enjoyable.
Yeah, that's the best thing God created for man.
Because they were made for our enjoyment.
Absolutely.
And while I was out and about today, Bradley, I ran into 2 wonderful women. I want to do this now so that I don't forget. Rosamond Knowles. I met her at Commonwealth Bank. She was wonderful. She was at Commonwealth Bank at the Town Center Mall. And have you ever met someone who you try to engage a service, right? Mm-hmm. The form is just so generic, but you want something specific. But you know you can't get it from filling out this form because they obviously fill this out for a 5th grader or make this for a 5th grader. And without my telling Rosamond that her form just doesn't sufficiently do what I want done, she just knew, like, I don't, maybe she's clairvoyant, I'm not sure. And when I got the thing back, it was absolutely fantastic.
Perfect, eh?
Yeah, and so to Miss Knowles, Rosamond Knowles, in the Commonwealth Bank at the Town Center Mall, in the customer service booth thing, I think you're a phenomenal woman, and thank you so much. Don't move, Freedom March will be back.
This is Freedom March.
Hello, thank you for staying with us through the break. I'm Levan Miller. You're listening to us on 103.5 The Beat FM, channel 224, that's cable, channel 112, that's on Flow, and of course on ILTV Studios on Facebook, where by now you should be following us. To the people that continue to say that they want to get in contact with me, I answer everyone that ever messages me on Facebook. My name is Levan Miller. That's Leyv as in Victor, O-N, Miller. I'm on Facebook. I've been there for 16 years. I don't intend to ever leave. I'm not very active on other social sites. I'm very easy to find because I'm not one of those people that is hiding behind a ghost profile. Because when I say things, I want you to know that this is the Negro that said it, and I don't want you to mistake it for any other Negro. Okay? So if you need to reach me, I have a phone. I'm going to start giving out my phone number, Bradley. But if you want to reach me, because I like to vet whether or not you actually need to talk to me or whether or not you need me to pass you on to someone else. Because a lot of times you don't need me. What you need is access to my contact. And I could do that for you without having a telephone conversation. Because sometimes phone conversations trigger my anxiety. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, like sometimes I intentionally miss calls because I ain't sure what I think you could say. So I missed the call to give you a chance to think about whether or not what you want to call me about was actually important. And if it was that important, you might call back. And I found that 45% of the time, people don't call back. That's how I know it wasn't important. Yeah. So I intentionally miss calls all the time because I want to give you a chance to, deliberate amongst yourself whether or not, with you and the 9 people in your head anyway, whether or not this is actually something that deserves phone time.
Right.
Yeah. Because I live in a text world and you could just text me. Because that's so much faster and so much more convenient, and it allows me the opportunity to respond to you when it is best suited for me to do so. All right? Okay, let's go back to the phone lines.
Absolutely.
32377. What are we doing? You want to do some
birthday
birthdays?
quickly, yeah.
Okay, let's
We just got
knock
2
birthday
wishes
people out
today.
of the way.
Shira, happy birthday to Shira, coming from Sweet Sum and Clown City Crew. Enjoy your day, Shira. Happy birthday to you. We want to extend a happy birthday greeting to Mickey King, who turned 16 today. It's coming from his mom, Mispa. Happy birthday to Mickey King. All right. That's all the birthdays for today.
All right. And also, I want to say a special hello, Bradley, because I told you, while women can sometimes be awful, horrendously awful, they're not all that way, right? And there are some women that you run into that are fantastic and amazing.
Indeed.
And delightful and wonderful to behold. And give me some more good adjectives.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Well, we have to say it like that. You have to say it sexy like that. Beautiful. I've been here for 7 months. I never hear your voice like that. Yeah. And they're everything that you could hope for and everything you need, right? And I like that about them. But today, Bradley, I also went by BEC. You know what that is?
The corporation there on Blue Hill Road somewhere?
I want to make sure. I just call them the Eck family. You know the Eck family? You know, Beck, Patek, and Wasak?
BEC.
Beck.
All right.
Who's Patek?
BEC is for, that's the acronym for
I just call them the Beck. I just call them the
Beck.
Eck. I just call them the Eck family.
Okay.
Beck, Patek, and Wasak. You know who that is?
BEC.
No, that's Beck. Who's Patek?
I don't know.
BTC.
Oh, BTC. Okay. All right.
Who's Wasak?
So you... Vasek?
Water and
One
sewage.
sewage. Yeah.
Yes. And the last set of people in life you want looking for you, beloved, is the Eck family.
Echo?
No. Patek, Beck, and Wasak.
Okay.
You don't want them look for you.
Okay.
So the best thing you could do is go look for them. You agree with that?
Absolutely.
Because if they have to come look for you, my friend, it usually on a Friday at 1 o'clock in the day
Yeah.
while you're awake. And that's the last thing you want to happen to you. Nothing could cut your countenance more than coming home and clicking the light switch and you realize yours ain't coming on and the neighbor won't coming on.
Yeah, in darkness.
All right, so I went over by Beck today because I like to go look for the Eck family before they come look for me. And I couldn't even see the whole human, but I know it was a woman, or I know it, because you know we live in a very interesting world now, I perceived the person behind the glass to identify as a woman. And then they gave me their name. So to Miss Petrell, who served me today while I was in fear for my life, Bradley, because every time they call the light bill, I just take it with the tremblings.
Oh, yeah, because you know it's coming.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah. And I wish they could just do whatever they was doing in March, April, and May, because that was working good. But I went there today, and right after she take all my money, I have to admit that I never felt so good spending money before in all my life, because she was just so nice to me. You know? She said, usually we don't do this. Usually we send people over by customer service to get this done. But I feel like, I could do this for you.
Yeah.
And then, Bradley,
Extra mile.
when I had to sign the receipt, I told her, my dear, I leave home today with a pen, and I can't find my pen. And lo and behold, Bradley, praise the Lord, the woman gave, and this is a decent pen.
It's a nice pen, yeah.
The woman gave me this decent pen.
It's a really
I said,
nice
this
pen.
is a saved woman. And so I wanted to tell people that I met very decent women today. And I thought that they were wonderful people. And I thought that I should actually let the whole Bahamas know that if you want to go pay your light bill, you make sure you go to Win Petrell there. And if you want something from Commonwealth Bank Towns and the mall, you go there when Miss Knowles there. All right?
Absolutely. It is.
Good stuff. Let's go back to the phone lines. 323-7775. 698-0775. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Yes. Mr. Miller, could you please get off this show? You don't make sense.
So,
BAM!
oh,
May diarrhea fill your shoe. And may your back teeth drop out first. May your back teeth drop out first. May you never be able to chew meat because you have no back teeth to chew it with. That's what I want.
no, I didn't think she should have called today, though, because, I mean,
That's what I
what
want
we
for.
were discussing, everything,
Matter of fact, Bradley, don't make me think about it more, because the more I think about it, I want her to keep her back teeth. Not right thinking about it. Put my magic back up. Let me hit her with some more magic. BAM! As a matter of fact, I washed that last set of magic off of you. Here's my new magic. May all the teeth past your incisor fall out. So that the only thing you have is teeth in the front of your mouth like a horse.
Miss Bells is something else.
Yeah, that's what I want for her.
Wow.
Yeah.
6980775.
May you never be able to fully bite into an apple ever again. That's what I want for her.
But she's a woman. You still gotta love her, though.
That, or I could leave her alone. Hey, caller.
Yes.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Yes.
Don't listen to the phone. Don't listen to the radio. Cut that down. Listen to me.
Fine. I'm spiritual advisor.
Yes, ma'am. How are you?
Oh. Okay. I'm listening to you.
Turn your radio down, please, or your television.
Okay. I moved.
Okay.
Now, the only comment I want to make, you know what we need to do? We need to pray for both families. But
Sure.
right now, all of us and all of them are hurting.
Sure.
That's all I have to say. Y'all have a good day.
Thank
All right,
you.
You should take your call.
And to the people that will say that, here is what I say. Right? While the families as individuals have their thing to go through, I stand with you, my prayer. At the end of the day, social law and order must remain. We must build a society where this kind of behavior isn't the norm. We must see to it that we put in place the necessary legislation to crutch that up so that we have a society that looks like the one we want to live in.
Absolutely, yeah. We should not accept
So
this.
I take the point. May the peace of God go with you all.
Yep.
For those of us, though, in seats of influence, for those of us that form and shape social consciousness, and for those of us that get the opportunity to enjoy the elected will or the collective will of the people in elected office and can draft legislation, you have a duty. You could agree with that?
All right.
Get up off your laurels and let's go do what it is we are paid to do every day. And that is to make sure that we condemn it That is what we're doing here today on Freedom March.
Absolutely, yeah, indeed.
To speak into the minds of people that I don't care how you feel, that is socially abnormal.
Yep, and we're not going to accept it.
That it will never be tolerated. And we implore the men that legislate to legislate against it. That's our job over here, right? To the men that legislate, I'm talking to the KC there. Go and draft legislation. The family on either side. May the peace of God go with you all. You feel like we fixed it?
Indeed.
Fantastic. Hello, caller. Welcome to Freedom March.
Good day, gentlemen. It's the Conky Joe here.
Hey, Conky Joe.
Yeah, it's a sad day in the Bahamas.
Yes, indeed.
That man, he need to change his laws. But I get a good solution for him, you know, whoever the guy is. I'm sure we need to do. Get a green truck, get him out by the square, and, you know, that's flying like a kite out there in the front of the school. Let the tourists see him just what they get when you murder in the Bahamas.
Well, whatever the punishment is going to be, I suspect that it will be written in law for the consideration and interpretation of a court with jurisdiction. All I'm saying is, like Marco Archer, I think this is the trigger to get us some legislation that finally cures the question of what is considered the worst of the worst. All right?
Okay.
I agree with you.
Yeah, and so that's where I am with it, Conky Joe. You good?
Thank you.
Give them the numbers.
We got another call. Welcome to Freedom March. Call you live.
Hey, good afternoon, Spiritual Advisor.
Good afternoon.
Levan.
Hey, buddy.
Would this be called the voice of the worst?
We're trying to figure it out now.
I think that
because
this is
I mean, how worse it could get done. Killing a woman that is alleged 7 months pregnant. I thought about that today, and I said how they had to take my son from my wife at 6 months. So that means that baby is formed. That's a baby. That's a child. That. I mean, it can't get no worse than that. Now, it ain't like this woman is 1 month or 2 months, and the person didn't know.
Regardless.
I mean, I understand. But what I'm saying, at 7 months, that woman has a belly.
Yeah.
That's a beast. That's a see, people like that, you have to treat them the way they try to treat people. That has to be a beast. It can't be a normal person.
Yeah, I'm thinking
right
the same
now,
thing.
I can say this in closing. You can have some smart lawyer can pick up that case. Say the man with what is called it?
Crime of passion?
No. Temporary
insanity. Well, let's not do that. But we
I'm
get your
saying
point.
they can have some legal.
Well,
again, until it get to them and they daughter or they wife or they auntie or somebody.
Yeah,
and then they can fight for weeks and weeks and
so,
let's hang them in that. But anyhow.
So thank you, brother.
We got you.
We've had politicians killed around here before. We've had people with very close nexuses to politicians killed around here before.
Triple H was.
Yeah. And so we can't say that it's never touched them. Leslie Miller's son was killed. Brandon McCartney's brother was killed. And so, you know, it has touched people in that sphere.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get into the particulars of how the case ought to be adjudicated, what ought to be considered, la da 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 da. I'm not getting into all of that. I'm saying to you, just like Marco's death and Kofi Goodman's case triggered the need, and it took us quite a bit of a time to get to the end of that, you know. But just like that triggered the need for there to be the Marco's alert, the removal of the 48-hour requirement in law when it's children under the age of a certain amount, this thing and that thing and just how those things were triggered in law by the death of Marco Archer, because societally we agreed that what happened to Marco and wrapping him up in the rug and putting him in the garbage and moving him from off of Blue Hill Road and we agreed that should never happen like that again. I'm saying similarly, I think this is a wonderful time for Lauren's Law. Because I think that today, this should send tremors to all. You shouldn't be sitting in a bar room and they're not talking about this. You shouldn't be sitting in a church congregation this afternoon and at some point you all don't mention this. You shouldn't be sitting in Toastmasters or Kiwanis or Rotary and at some point this conversation doesn't happen. If you go to the tire shop, it should happen. In the coffee shop, it should happen. The bookstore, there should be talking in the prayer box and all that mentions at some point Lauren. Because that is how much it should have shaken the core of this country. Whether you are in Colonel Hill, Crooked Island, or whether you are in Hopetown, Abaco. Lauren's death and the manner in which it happened and all of the intricacies of that death are shattering enough to cause all Bahamians to stop. And because it has that effect, there must be something legislative that is created out of it. That is the point I'm making. And I think that at the perfect time in history, we have the absolute best minds responsible for legislation that can ensure that we dot the I's and we cross the T's. Yeah?
All right.
Let's go to the phone line.
Welcome to Freedom House Call. You're live. Are you there, caller?
Hey, that's me you all talking to?
Yeah, Papa.
Okay, good day, Levon. Levon, yesterday, I think yesterday or some kind of recording I hear the show when good afternoon, Bradley.
Yes, good afternoon.
Okay, when you to tell Levon say stick to the politics or something, don't fool with the Bible or something like that?
Sure.
But listen, I been observing him. Bradley, I ain't gonna take that from you as the spiritual advice for the Bahamas. But this Levon Hart too. He really know the Bible, and when he talk about going to church, being a church of God, a prophecy man, I listen to him how he's forming, and sometimes you just agree with what he's saying, and he's break it down. So I want to encourage you, Bradley, to work along with him and help him to be a spiritual advisor too, because he gets something rooted inside of him. And I know you agree, right?
I got you, Papa.
You agree?
I got you.
Okay. I have a question, though, and it seems like how I respect him, not just like him as a friend or fan of his, but the spiritual part. Bradley, is it okay if I make $1,000 and I take 10% out of it, which I'm supposed to put in my tithes, right? And go and cook some food, $100 worth of food, and give it to people? Is that fair? Do you think God pleased with that? God okay with that or not? I have something else I want to ask. Yes or no?
Well, the 10% is tied to the Old Testament in the first instance. The New Testament doesn't give you a percentage to
So,
get.
Bradley, so Papa could understand how he blind you or Levon. Just tell me if it's okay for me to do it or not. Or
It's
God
okay.
pleased
Well,
with
if
it.
you want to do it that way, that's fine, yeah.
God will be okay with it. It shouldn't be about me. I want to make sure God might be pleased with it. Is pleased with it.
So, Papa, I mean, if you want to please God, all I can tell you is this. When it comes to tithing, that is something completely different in the Old Testament. We don't live under that system anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, Christians give freely and liberally.
So you could take the tithes money and buy some groceries.
But there's
and
no
give
such
someone?
thing. Well, there's no such thing as tithes money in the New Testament. What you want to do is take a portion of your earnings and give it
I
to
say
somebody.
10%, not a portion. 10%. 10%.
The
not a portion.
10%. Okay.